Good afternoon, everyone in the social media platform. Today, I want to welcome you to another broadcast of the Family Planning Institute and 180 Degree Family. 180 Degree is a unique program designed by the Family Planning Institute, designed to focus on four essential tenets that is essential to give a solid foundation to the family. Today with me in their respective studio is no other than the chairman of the Family Planning Institute, which is Mr. Clairmonte, and Dr. Mark Constantine, who is the executive manager for the Family Planning Institute. Clement Frank holds a master's degree in economics, and he has a tremendous background in leadership and human resource and relation. Years of experience also in the public and private sector. Dr. Frank is a clinical psychologist, and he himself also has years of experience with the private and public sector. And we're so happy to have both parties on board with discussing today's program. My name is Gary Thompson. For those who might be joining me for the first time, I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the multiple best-selling author for several books, including Billionaire Codes and Manager's Toolkit. Welcome, my friends.
Thanks, Gary.
Welcome. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome.
Pleasant Sunday afternoon and post-emancipation holiday. Blessings.
Yes, you got it.
Yeah.
Right. The first, I want us to go straight into it because I think that the questions that was posed to us this week are very strong and grounded questions that I believe will challenge each and every one of us here. So I want to get into it without any delay. We have one question. The first question here is, how does the Family Planning Institute see living standards in Guyana? How does the Family Planning Institute see living standards in Guyana? Is it good, bad, in between? What are your thoughts?
I'm waiting for the economist to take the lead.
All right. What I'm going to do
is a dropping of your voice. Out.
My voice, Frank.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, I'm here. I'm hearing you.
What's happening is that I'm hardly hearing the drop. There's a lull in the communication.
All right. Well, I'll try to.
You hearing me right now?
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Yes, we're hearing you perfectly.
Yeah.
All right. The thing about the living condition in Guyana and how we in the family planning, you hearing me?
Yeah, Frank, I'm hearing you. All right. Let me attempt to
Are you hearing me now?
I am hearing you. I am hearing
You hearing me now?
Yes, I am.
Clearly.
I am hearing you, Frank. All right, but let me lay the foundation a little bit. All right,
Good.
and then you'll pick it up. From the research that we are doing in Guyana,
No problem.
From the research that we are doing in Guyana, we have seen that Guyana population is close to about 800,000 persons. Now, what we have seen is that we have 19% of that population that is living in extreme poverty. Extreme poverty. That simply means that most of these parties are not gainfully employed, or they're not sustainably employed, and their income base is very limited. So 18% of our population can easily translate into about 150 persons that we can say that are living in extreme poverty. On the other hand, we have about 36% of Guyana's population that are living in poverty. And that means that this 36%, which might represent a population of about 280,000 persons, they are gainfully employed, but their income base might be below $70,000, below $100,000. So when you take their living expenses against their income, it is not enough to provide them with a sustainable quality livelihood. So based on those statistics, we personally, I have to conclude for over 55% of Guyana's population, the living standards is not what it ought to be. All right. So I want to stop here at this point, but I just throw in two other things. We see that we have 10% whom we might consider the upper class, and you have about 35% who you consider the middle class population. I'll leave it there and give you guys a chance to respond.
All right. So, what if Family Planning Institute does to more or less affect a change in this situation is basically to educate folks on how they can increase their standard of living, how they can build streams of income that would benefit them, their family, and to the larger extent, their community or society. And by doing that, what we do is place emphasis on 4 pillars that the organization stands on. And this involves leadership and business psychology. And our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Thompson, he's the one who will give us all that has to be taught on business psychology.
That's Mr. Mark, Dr. Mark Constantine. You say Mr. Thompson.
No,
or me
right.
as the coordinator. All right. Okay. I'll take it.
All right. Okay. Well, Dr. Mark will. And so Dr. Mark also looks at the psychology and human development phase of the training. Yours truly, I looked at leadership and emotional intelligence. The thing about it is that when you look at all these pillars, they tie in to make the individual who's being trained taught how to effect change in their financial income, but be able to more or less handle it positively.
Yeah, and Frank, one more thing I want to add to this, okay? It would be nice also that if we look at this from we have 55% based on statistics of our population that is between extreme poverty and poverty. And now they have COVID-19 to deal with. So I do believe that this is putting an even tremendous hardship on those families. What I can say is that there are people that I don't know who are reaching out to me via social media. But I say not know personally, who are reaching out to you on social media, and they're asking for help. And many of those persons might be in the outskirts of the city, but they have a curfew. They don't have adequate jobs. They don't have adequate time to do shopping. Food stuff is running out. So for us, the way that we see it, we think that COVID-19 in itself you're going to see a widening in the poverty level and a widening in the extreme poverty level if the kind of leadership that we are talking about, the kind of mindset that we're talking about, if those things doesn't come to lend its hand to given families and given people, perhaps working with governments and working with private sector, we believe it could have a tremendous negative rippling effect on a wider cross section of Guyana. So you can quickly see that 55% expanding much higher than that. What do you think, Dr. Mark?
All right. Based on the statistics that you would have given, Mr. Thompson, the facts are there. You're traveling in different communities all across Guyana, and I have done a fair amount of traveling in all the regions of Guyana, gone into a lot of communities, and you've seen the level of poverty that exists and that some people live in. So there is absolutely no doubt that it exists and that it's there. Now, I think that the Family Planning Institute is very strategically positioned, you know, at a time like this, where people are looking for opportunities, because due to, as you rightfully said, Gary, the COVID-19 situation, and let us be very logical about also our political situation in the country, that has a lot of things in a bit of an unstable way. There's a lot of instability and a lot of people have a lot of uncertainty, I should say. And so what you find is that people whom are quarantined, for instance, be it full-time or part-time quarantine, they're looking for something to do. And I believe that with the right guidance, you know, people can be pointed in the direction in which they can do a lot of things, even, you know, from where they reside, from out of their homes. A lot of things can be done. From your yard, a lot of things can be done. So I think the Family Planning Institute is very strategically positioned to guide individuals and families into those directions. And of course, it would require a whole, you know, shift of mindset and shift of thinking. For instance, you know, look at how we are conducting a meeting right now via Zoom. You know, a few months ago, a year ago, this was something that wasn't very common in Guyana. You know, we met at a location, so there has to be a paradigm shift, general paradigm shift in the way we do business, in the way we think, in the way we act and believe. And that's why I'm saying the Family Planning Institute, with the expertise that exists, we are very strategically positioned to guide individuals into that direction.
Thank you, Dr. Mark. I do believe that some of the points that Mr. Frank would have raised early on is also very important. And that brings me to the second question. And that is, what is the Family Planning Institute role in raising the quality of life for people in Guyana? I want to start off by saying, and I know Mr. Frank would have spoke about this just now, the Family Planning Institute stands on 4 pillars. And those 4 pillars are, we deal with psychology and human resource development. And I want to say that that's a very, very unique program that really helps people to get a sense of self, a sense of purpose, a sense of direction with their lives. I'm happy to have Dr. Mark to represent that platform. We also have Mr. Frank, who is dealing with leadership and emotional intelligence. And in that platform is also very, very unique, because leadership is largely about taking action. It's about taking that information, which is knowledge, and making it your superpower. And that's the tremendous role that Mr. Mark or Mr. Frank will be playing in really helping families to be able to navigate this. But to add to these two, we have something else that we call leadership and business psychology. And the reason that we have added business, leadership, and business psychology is why we want people to understand more about business. Why? It is clear to us across the world. You perhaps have about 20% of the global workforce who are able to live a quality, sustainable life from their single source of income, while you have about 80% of the global population whose single source of income is totally inadequate. So from the Family Planning Institute, we're going to be working with them to understand what is affiliate marketing, what is owning a home business, and really how to beef up their income stream. Last but not least, we have a very unique platform where we talk about financial intelligence and the psychology of money. And this for me is very, very, very important for people to understand. Most people call currency money, and it's important for you to draw the distinction between what is currency and what is money. And in drawing that distinction, it's also important for you to know how money works. Traditionally, Mark and Frank, we grew up here and go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and it almost stopped there. At the Family Planning Institute, we add a few other things. It's not just about going to school. It's not just about getting an education. It's getting the right education. There's what we call the good education, the right education. And once you get the right education, it's about creating jobs. That's how we stimulate the economy and stimulate, provide opportunities for people to grow and expand. So I just started that by answering the second question, and that is, what is the role of the Family Planning Institute in the life, in raising the standard and quality of life for families in Guyana? I know, Mr. Frank, you may want to talk about your role in leadership, perhaps in helping to get a sense of self, sense of purpose, sense of direction, and other leadership essential. Dr. Mark, I know you may want to talk about how to develop that healthier mindset to be ready for finance, because strangely what I've seen, especially in some religious sector, there's some people who are socialized into thinking that money is evil. Perhaps this is something for us to talk about, and to perhaps talk about it as to how we can break that negative mindset towards money itself. Frank?
You dropped just now. Hear the question that you asked?
All right.
You broke up just now.
All right. I was referring to the second question, and what is the role of the Family Planning Institute in raising the quality of life for the people of Guyana?
Oh, okay, good. Thanks, Gary. I think, first of all, folks have to know that we play an important role in that we teach you how to better be able to handle financial resources. Mentor you in leadership, not just for your family, but how you will lead at the workplace, how you lead in society. Because for all you know, in every society, there's a community which will have leaders. How do you lead? And are you self-sabotaging as you lead? And the thing about it is that many persons who claim to be leaders do not understand the basic concept of what leadership is. You find it every day. So the Family Planning Institute's role here is to let you come to the realization that this is serious, and leadership does not mean that you're always in front. You can be a leader and be behind, because you will make sure that the persons who are leading or you're leading are capable enough to carry on, even if you were not there, or if you decide, hey, I'm sick today, would that cause the society to break down because you're not there? No. But we teach you here how to maintain the leadership presence even if you're not there. Someone can always take it and run with it.
Thank you.
Another role that we have is basically to let you understand self. Self does not knowing who, what your name is, or where you work, or your profession. It is deeper than that. And for you to understand that, there must be the self-actualization or self-concept that you are comfortable in who you are, what you are, and what you can give to society.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Frank.
That's my
Um,
that's my response.
thank you. Dr. Mark?
Well, you know, the first thought that comes to mind, Gary and Frank, is that, you know, it's not business as usual anymore. And as I said earlier on, there's a need right now for persons and families to be guided. And as I said earlier also, that the Family Planning Institute is the platform, I think, that can guide individuals in the direction of business and financial management and all of that. You know, one of the things that I've been talking to someone about over the last week is the need for self-reinvention. Right now, where we stand globally, you may have your education, and that's wonderful. You may have your qualifications for a certain area, but if we're talking about multiple streams of income, it requires, you know, self-reinvention, where you move away from the norm with the right guidance, of course, and the right groundwork. You move away from the norm. And what I have discovered with a lot of people is that they are so set in and determined to just function in the area that they are qualified to function in, or the area that they believe they are qualified to function in. They are very hesitant to step out into, you know, other areas of opportunities that exist. And I must emphasize that the opportunities exist. It just sometimes takes the right eye to see it, and the right guidance to pursue it, and the right mindset altogether, you know, to say, listen, this is going to, you know, do me good. This is going to help me to realize myself and realize my potential. And so, you know, I'll just pursue it. So again, it would take a general shift of thinking and a shift in attitude altogether. And that is what we are here for, you know, to provide that.
Thank you, Dr. Mark. Very, very solid points that you've made there. The third question I have is, what are some essential family values that can lead to better quality of life for families? Well, I have a pet peeve. You know, I would normally say that to prepare for family, it means that first of all, step one, you have to be mentally, emotionally, psychologically prepared. And to me, once you have your game plan, that should permeate throughout the family. So again, at the Family Planning Institute, we have a program that speaks about your personal life master plan, and that's getting you right. We also speak about the family life master plan, and that's having a game plan for the family. And then we talk, last but not least, about your professional life master plan. All three of these tenets are extremely unique because the last plan speaks a lot about preparing you to be able to, you know, have relevance in the world. So I'm going to stop here and give you a chance. We have 10 more minutes to conclude the program.
All right. When it comes to healthy family dynamics, it is helpful to learn from positive models. So rather than have a deficit approach where you highlight the weak points or what is wrong with the family, a more productive and I may dare say enduring approach is to emphasize family strength. I often tell my students most people want a strong family. It's a nice goal, but it's a little vague. And one of my research, it brought out 6 specific core areas that we can focus on immediately. It's how we become more aware and actively engage in strengthening families. And the first is where we show appreciation and affection. And it sounds familiar as if we discussed this before. But here is where you speak in positive and affirmative ways, and you express the love that you have for each other. A lot of times, families are broken because nobody shows the kindness, empathy, or affection or appreciation for one another. And so you tend to drift apart. To go far quickly, they must have a strong commitment to each other. In other words, they're deeply committed to promoting each other's happiness and welfare, well-being, and show their commitment by investing time and energy in family activities. Whether it be going to the park or just being there, helping with homework, assisting in whatever ways they can, planning family time that could spend together. Another point is try to enjoy time together. Try to be together and know that if this isn't a priority in family, it's going to cause disunity. So we need to schedule time. It's not always going to happen because life is filled with uncertainties and maybe sickness or something, but you must try. Sometimes love is better spelled as T-I-M-E.
Time.
Time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
And you, Dr. Mark, could answer the rest.
Dr. Mark?
Yes. In the interest of time, let me just proceed very quickly. I totally endorse a lot of what Mr. Frank would have said. It requires a lot of time to develop family. Be it that you're developing that bond and that relationship in family for on a business platform level or whatever. It requires a lot of time. But in addition to time, I want to throw in another word that Frank did mention. I think it requires a lot of patience as well. I have a very good friend who has a very, very successful business in this country and has 4 or 5 children. And a few years ago, he said to me, he said, Mark, I'm afraid that I'm coming to that age of retirement and I have none of my children to succeed me because none have showed interest in that business over the years. But if you do a deeper research and you have a deeper understanding as to why that never happened, it is because the time was never taken. The time was never taken. The patience was never, enacted. And in addition to all of that, there is also this whole factor of trust. That's which is very, very key from my experience. I've had a lot of experience talking to a lot of people about that. And so, as I said, I endorse what Frank said, and it would require a lot of time and patience and everything else.
Thank you, Dr. Mark. The next question, and we're going to try to answer this one in a minute each, and I think this is going to be the last question based on time. How can the financial intelligence program provided by the Family Planning Institute enhance the quality of life for family? I'm going to start this, since this is my platform. The Family Planning Institute will teach families about passive income cash flow, about multiple streams of income, about smart investment strategy, and how to build generational wealth. So we are literally prepared to get people off of this paycheck to paycheck cycle, if even you're working, but it's to show you new innovative approaches that you can use to generate additional income so you can position your family to live a better quality of life. People have dreams of owning their own home, driving their own car, early retirement, paying for their children's college funds, having an emergency savings account, having a smart investment account, and so forth. The Family Planning Institute is the place that will be able to teach you about these things. Not only teach, mentor, coach, and support you to ensure that you achieve these things. In closing, Dr. Mark and Mr. Frank, anything else you want to add on the financial aspect and Family Planning Institute?
I think we've answered it for us, Gary. And the thing about it is that with all of that said, we also train and mentor, right?
Yeah.
Which is important because despite you may have the knowledge, you still need to, or the know-how, you still need to have mentoring done.
Yeah,
and I think that's where the Family Planning Institute comes in to help with the mentorship and training programs.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Frank. Dr. Mark?
Very quickly, let me just sum it up and say this. The Family Planning Institute and the people that are there to work with you and help you are here to help to bring your dreams to a reality, to translate your dreams and make it a reality. Be it, as you would have said, Gary, owning your own home, your own business, developing multiple streams of income, whatever it is, through the financial intelligence program, which I think is a critical platform in the whole makeup. It would provide that knowledge and information that people need to be able to realize and make their dreams a reality.
Thanks again, Dr. Mark. And I just want to remind the public, Dr. Mark is our point person in relation to clinical psychology. He has years of experience that can really help people to come out of a fixed mindset and come into a growth mindset where you can truly position yourself to embrace the abundance of life. And Mr. Mark, or Mr. Frank also, he specializes in economics and in leadership. And with those knowledge combined, you have a team of people who live, and their primary reason for living is to serve you and to ensure that you come into your dreams, your hopes, and your aspirations. Thank you, Dr. Mark, and thank you, Mr. Frank. And I'll see you on the other side. And thanks again.
Thank you.
All right.
Ciao.
Bye.